I'm now sitting on West 27th Street, just north of Queen. The empty lot we're looking at is where 2559 stood. On this side is 2665, I believe, and on this side is 2555. So, this empty lot looks very much like the house where Grandma Peters and Grandpa Peters lived, probably very soon after they were married. I don't know how long they lived there. There's probably photographs of the family, because I remember some photographs that showed a big rear lot. Okay, this is the site of 2930 West 38th Street. I'm standing on the corner of Aaron and West 38. This is right opposite Aaron. Aaron would drive right into this house. This is 2928. Then this empty lot. And then this house over here, I forgot the address, so I'm going to walk over and read what the address is. Well, it's pretty visible. It's 2946. This is 10412 Joan Avenue. This is the home where Arlene was born. As far as I can remember, she told me she was born on the upper floor, and she only lived here a year or so. Here's Brighton Avenue, and Mom and Dad and Arlene lived at 12221 Brighton on the south side of the street. Here's my Grandma Peters and her sister Alice standing in front of the home on Brighton Avenue, and notice that all the lawns on that street rise up. There's a little hill like. Here's your mother standing in front of her house, maybe 3 years old, 2 or 3 years old. This was a favorite photograph of Mom. She submitted this photograph to her yearbook when everybody had to submit a baby photo for people to guess who they are. Mom thought this was a cute photo, and it is. It shows her kind of like in a model's pose. This is the interior of the home on Brighton, and I'm sure now that the inside of the Brighton home had that fireplace with the stones on it. Here's another photograph of Arlene on the lawn in front of Brighton. This is a photograph of one of Arlene's very close friends when she was younger. She's sitting in the driveway of her home on Brighton, and that's the house directly across the street. And this is Grandpa standing in front of the sidewalk going to the front steps of the house. This is the house directly across from 12221 Brighton. It was in the background of a lot of the photographs that were taken in front of the house. This is West 82nd Street, and the house about in the middle of the picture is 3353. Mom probably lived on the lower level right where that address is, 3353. And it's a two-story house, and this is where she started school, from this house. This is a very short street. It comes down the hill from Denison, and goes down to Elmira. There's only about 5 or 6 houses on each side of the street. But Mom walked from this house down to Elmira, and then down to Elmira grade school. This is Paul in the backyard at West 82nd, and this is Arlene, George, and Paul. Mom lived at 6002 Wrenwood from 1939 until 1943, when they made a permanent move to West 47th Street. This house Grandpa Peters could have bought during the Depression for just a few $1,000s, maybe $3,000 or $4,000. But he thought that that was a bad deal, and a house would never hold that value, so he did not buy it. In between, Mom lived with Uncle Louie, which she said was way out in the country on Ridge Road, so I have another map that'll show that. And I saw that house when it was still standing, and it looked like a countryside house way down south of Cleveland. It actually is almost across the street from Parmatown. It's by day drive, and it's all built up now. There's all new homes there. We have photographs taken at that house later on, not at the time Mom lived there, because she was pretty young when she lived there. Mom lived with Uncle Louie there for a while because Grandma had TB, and Grandma went to a TB sanitarium for about a year. This photograph of George on this old couch, I know for sure, was taken at the farm. And you can see from the background that it was mostly fields at that time. Here's a photograph of Ma Peters basking in the sun in the farm. This is her sister, Aunt Alice, doing the same thing, probably in the same spot. This is Mom, Alice Marie, and Shirley. This one we can't see too well, but there's a boy, then Mom, then probably Alice Marie and Shirley, and then either George or Paul. Looks like it's on a pile of hay. This is at Uncle Louie's farm. Here's the next permanent home the Peters family lived in. It's 2042 West 47th Street. It's just south of Lorraine. Mom moved there in 1943 when she was 9 years old. Her grandmother, Minnie Herbst, and grandfather, George Peters, lived right across the lot. That house is torn down now. It's just a field. There's an alley that goes down between those two streets. My dad's barbershop was very close. There's my dad's barbershop on West 52nd Street, right on Lorraine on the corner of 52nd. And when we got married, it was at St. Stephen's Church on West 54th Street, and that's where Cheryl and Mark were baptized. When Mom moved to West 47th Street, she continued grade school at a school on Orchard Avenue. Right now, we're looking at the site of Minnie Herbst's home. It's 2031 West 48th Street. The house in the background behind the tree is the house that Mr. and Mrs. Peters lived in. This is the house. That's the doorway where Arlene was with the dog Rusty. Here's the bushes in front of the house. And then the tree, I think, was on that side of the house, but this is the house. Here's one of our all-time favorite photographs taken at Minnie Herbst's house. There's 4 generations of women there. Great-Grandma Minnie, Grandma Marge, Arlene, and Cheryl. And that cute little kid in Mom's lap is Mark. Here's a couple more photographs of Mom inside the house on West 47th Street. And this is probably around the time Mom graduated from high school. She graduated in 1952 while she was still on West 47th Street. This shows some photographs in the house. Margaret was born when they lived on West 47th Street, and I presume this is the lawn of West 47th. I'm on West 85th Street, just north of Detroit, and I'm aiming down towards Grandma's house, 1326 West 85th Street. It was about where that car's turning around. But I thought I'd get a long shot down the street because you guys probably remember this street very well. But there's Grandma's house. I always thought she had spokes on the porch. Maybe they had spokes a long time ago, but some of the photographs with you kids show that the porch had a covering very much like that. I remember your uncles and Mom and grandparents and I painting that house. You used to take 11 gallons of paint to paint that, and George and I were the only two with enough courage to get a big tall ladder and climb up and paint those peaks. There's 3 peaks on the house. one in the front and one on the two sides. We'd wind up painting all summer long before we were finally done. It was really a big job, but as I look back on it now, it was a fun job. I'm glad we did it. We did it as a family. Okay, this same side of West 85th Street on Down by Lake, you guys probably remember this apartment building. And then you guys, Cheryl told me you guys used to walk down to West 87th Street. Right down there, you see that kind of a bluish building? That was the delicatessen you guys always went to. Here's some photographs of Mom taken at West 85th Street while I was still in the Air Force. This is right after they moved. You guys should remember this living room mantle. There's another one in the living room with Grandma's lamp. There's a photo of Lenny and Margaret in the kitchen. Here's Margaret by herself. Larry, my brother Larry and George, with some of the trophies they won playing baseball.
There'll be pennies from heaven for you when all the things you owe are mine.
Bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her.
My sunshine, my only sunshine. You make me happy when skies are gray. You'll never know, dear, how much I love you. Please don't take my sunshine away.
Earth angel,